So I decided to come out and do some reconnaissance. There's a trail called the High Country Pathway that I really want to check out. That's going to be in a future video. This is literally a 20-minute drive from Mom's place. There was only one turn really to get here from her house, so that's perfect. It's an 80-mile closed loop trail that goes around the Pigeon River Country State Forest, and one of the largest elk herds in the state of Michigan live in this state forest, so it's a pretty popular place to come see the elk. But today I think I'm going to come check out the Shingle Mill pathway since it's a bit shorter and I'm only going to be here for a couple hours. But now I know it's super easy to get to and it's real close to Mom's, so I cannot wait to come and actually backpack this. So this is the Pigeon Bridge State Forest campground right across from the parking area for the High Country Pathway. Considering that this is a holiday weekend, the campsite appears to only be about half full. And just a short walk to the back of the campground is the trailhead for Shingle Mill and High Country Pathway. So I'm going to hop on and check it out for a little bit. Already pooped 3 times this morning, and I have to poop again. On the trail for less than a quarter of a mile, and I'm already noticing that it's really well marked. There's blue blazes, and oh, you've probably seen it on the tree right behind me. Yeah, and you have these little plastic triangles that have the hiking and cross-country skiing paths marked on them. So far, I really like the scenery. Very lush in here. Lots of ferns, lots of pines, which I really appreciate. I am so excited to do this backpacking trip. I've just been like obsessively researching any stories I can find or anyone's trip logs. So, since my parents live so close, what I'm thinking, I'm going to actually have them camp out at Clear Lake State Forest Campground. It's the only modern campground on this pathway. So it has like showers and nice bathrooms. And then all the other campgrounds along this 80-mile path are either small rustic campgrounds or you're just doing dispersed camping. So it would be really great to start at this trailhead down here, and then Clear Lake Campground is kind of like halfway, about the halfway point. You know, so then by then, you know, you're probably feeling pretty rough. You get a nice shower in, take a dip in the water. Now it rained yesterday, and as you might hear in the video, the trees are still raining water onto the forest floor. The ferns and all the greenery around me are very wet, so if you had rainy conditions before starting a hike here, you're definitely going to get your pants and your socks wet. If I'm super lucky today, maybe I'll see an elk or a black bear. All right, just under half mile in, we've come to our first fork in the road. This would be the trailhead for the Shingle Mill pathway. It looks like you've got a couple options here. There's a 3/4 mile loop and a 1 1/4 mile loop. So I think that we're going to go with the 1 1/4 today. Definitely wouldn't want to hike here in the spring I can see this trail definitely gets a little soggy. If it's raining a lot. Alright, so I've come to the next split in the road. There's a nice trail marker here. So coming from Shingle Mill pathway, if you enter in from Pigeon Bridge State Forest Campground, behind me, this would be the way back to the campground. And then this not very well beaten path is the shorter side of the Shingle Mill pathway. So it's a small loop, and then that small loop comes to a point right here, and you would take this way, and it looks like it's about 6 miles, and you end up at the Pigeon River State Forest Campground. Now this says 1/4 mile. That must be referring to the entire loop. Because according to my watch, yeah, it's gotta be, because I'm at 3/4 of a mile. Anyways, it's a really nice trail so far. So this section of the trail actually swings us pretty close to the Pigeon River. You can see it through the trees here. Looks like not even 50 feet from the trail, you can walk right up to the river. Not that you would need to filter water or anything right here, but if you're hiking the high country pathway, you're definitely going to need to filter water. I'm just doing a day hike today. I am really glad I came out though. It's a beautiful day. It was pretty dicey yesterday. It rained all day. Rained all day until about 9:40. So I'm glad I almost went to sleep. Because I was like, I was upset. I bought a bunch of firewood. Oh, here we are. Bought a bunch of firewood, hoping to have a great bonfire, and then we get back to Mom's and it's just pouring rain. But I waited it out, and we ended up having a blazing fire until 2 o'clock in the morning. So things are a little damp today, but other than that, the weather's beautiful. Nice clear sky. And perfect hiking temperatures. It's only 65 degrees right now. Anything between like 38 and 75, those are like ideal temperatures. This trail just continues to be absolutely beautiful. Definitely very lush northern Michigan trail. If the high country pathway is anything like its neighboring Shingle Mill pathway, I think that it's going to be a very pleasant 80 miles. Although I do hear that some parts of the northern end of the high country pathway become overgrown with ferns, and it's hard to see the trail. So you have to pay close attention to any of the blue blazes on the trees. But this pathway for sure, it's very, very well blazed, and I think it'd be pretty impossible to lose yourself on this trail. Literally speaking anyways, you could definitely lose yourself, hypothetically. So I didn't see this marked on the trail map anywhere, or on all trails, but there's a cute little log cabin and a little latrine right off the pathway. Oh, okay, yeah, this is the headquarters for Pigeon River County Forest Area. Now I see the sign at the road crossing here. So about 2¼ miles into the Shingle Mill pathway, you have the Pigeon River Country State Headquarters. So I did pop into the visitor center for a second to see if they had any maps for sale. Unfortunately, I don't have any cash on me and they don't take credit card. But they did have a couple little paper maps, so I'll toss those in my little camel pack here. But yeah, it's a cute little visitor center. All right, 2 3/4 of a mile in, and you get popped out at Pigeon River campground. And as you can see, Pigeon River. And it's really shaping up to be a gorgeous day. Good news. Labor Day weekend, the campgrounds are pretty empty, which means that they'll probably be all but abandoned on a normal weekday. And this latrine is super clean, so yeah, I'm going to be using that real quick. You're near the bridge and at the Pigeon River State Forest Campground. God, I wanted to show you guys this campsite. I think this is where we'll be staying when we backpack this. This has got to be the best site here. Unless you're hammock camping, but it's right on the river. Let's see, this is, oops, sorry about the finger there. Campsite number 17. You can see here, construction's underway of a new bridge crossing. So today, unless I ford the river, I will not be able to continue this trail. But it's looking like it's pretty near completion, so I would expect this to be open by next spring. You may have seen, the bridge is crossable by foot right now. And it is immediately preceded by a decently steep hill. East of Pigeon River State Campground, just as beautiful, just as lush. So just a little ways past the campground, after crossing the bridge, you come to this path marker, 6 mile, 10 mile. And they have a "You Are Here" on the map, which I really enjoy, even though I have all trails. But let's see, Pigeon Bridge Campground, that's where I started. And this is where I'm at. And the trail continues up to a loop. I'm not sure if I'll have time to do the whole thing today. Got to get back and take wife and mom out for dinner at some reasonable time. But I'll at least come up to where the loop starts. And if I think I have enough time, I'll do the whole thing and then head back to my car. Not supposed to camp right off the trail, but I would never blame anyone. It looks like a great spot right next to the river there. I honestly just cannot contain my excitement to come out here and backpack the High Country Trail. This is so beautiful. The forest is beautiful. The scenery, I mean, you're along a river. There's plenty of sources to get water. Now, if we can just have this same weather, that would be fantastic. It sounds like I'm near a freeway, but there are no roads anywhere near me right now. The sky still looks pretty good in all directions, but there is a bigger, darker cloud kind of directly over me. And it seems like it brought a pressure change that's bringing in this real nice gust of wind. It just sounds delightful. I should be coming up on the next intersection. So the way this trail works, there's a small loop towards the beginning. You kind of go in a straight mile or a straight line. And here we are towards the end, past the campground after you're crossing the bridge. You hike another nearly 2 miles and you come to this intersection. And this is another loop A little bit larger than the one at the front of the trail though. So here's the loop at the front of the trail, hiking past these campgrounds, and then you have this bigger loop. It says 11-mile loop. I think that's in reference to doing the whole thing, not just this loop right here. I think the actual loop itself is about 2.5 miles or so. So I'm gonna check it out. I've got a little more time before I have to turn around. Once I get to the 2-hour mark here, it is time to turn around and start shuffling back to the car so I can take mom and wife out for dinner. I wasn't gonna stop again, but will you look at this beautiful little turquoise lake here. Sorry, I'm breathing heavily, but I've been kind of jogging. The sky is starting to get a little cloudy. It's making me nervous. And I want to do as much of this trail as I can. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks refreshing. Oh, that is beautiful water. Oh, it is so clear. Oh yeah. If it were a hot summer day, I would definitely be taking a dip in that. And looks like somewhere that somebody popped up a campsite right here. What a gorgeous spot. My God. Yeah, you know, when I backpack the high country pathway, I might almost just do this route and reconnect to it, just because I know how gorgeous it is and how great the surface of the trail is. This has been absolutely amazing so far. I'm like 5 miles in, and I'm not even near being like pooped out. I feel fantastic. It's just invigorating. So if you're ever up this way, highly recommend checking out the Shingle Mill pathway. So I just want to say this real quick. If you cross-country ski or do any winter backpacking or camping, oh man, I would definitely love to come back and do this when there's powder on the ground. The terrain, there's a couple hills here and there, but I mean, for the most part, this is a pretty easygoing trail. I would by no stretch of the imagination call this hard. Check these out. Yes. I really shouldn't be stopping anymore, but I mean, how can I not show you these like fluorescent orange mushrooms? So cool. My wife's gonna be so mad at me. All right, I'm not gonna shoot much more footage because I have to start making tracks, but this is the last intersection. I'm heading this way on the loop. So you'll see this sign. Grass Lake Overlook is this way. And I want to head to 11. So here's the map. I'm going to go this way. That was incorrect information. This will lead you out to Grass Lake area if you follow 11. 8 and 9 are this way. I came from 9. I'm headed to 8. It's hard to see, but I came from this direction, and I need to go this direction. There's my blue blaze right there. Thankfully, I only went about 100 feet, so we're good. Almost missed the trail there. It is definitely a little harder to see over on this section. That's what all trails is for. So I just saw 3 elk through the trees. Scared the living crap out of me because I just hear a loud crunching noise, and I look over and see something big and brown moving through the woods. And I know getting close to fall here, the black bears are trying to eat as much food as they can before winter. So that always has me a little on edge. Unfortunately, there's no way I would have been able to get a picture or a video of them because they were, you know, between the trees. And they took off as soon as they saw me. So that was cool. Elk down. And I'm 7 miles out on the trail. So 11 miles total. I have 4 miles to go. See you back at the car. It gets very dense and lush on the northeast end of the pathway here. It's very dense, but I love that. And you just have this excellent mix of different types of trees. It keeps the scenery interesting. I'm almost back at the intersection where the big loop begins. I did end up doing the big loop out of my own better judgment. So now I have to up the pace for these last couple miles to get back to the car. But I am not upset about it. Absolutely loved this entire hike so far. And I know what to expect on the way back. So all right, back at the intersection. So that was the big loop. And now it's time to head back to the car. Just want to point this out real quick so nobody makes this mistake, and thankfully I didn't make it because I knew which way I came from last time. This mile marker, or this trail marker, it doesn't actually show a direction to 5. It just says 6 mile this way, and there is a blaze on this tree, but that actually doesn't keep you on this trail. What it does, well, I mean, I guess technically it does. There's a different way to take this trail, I guess, but you know, if you're doing the actual Shingle Mill loop, you're doing this. But it would have been nice if they had an arrow pointing down with the 5, so that you know you want to go that way, not that way. That's the way I came from. Although I guess if you wanted your map to look fun, or you wanted to check out a different part of the trail, you could cut across to 12 and then take this way back. But that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stick to the trail that I came in on. And we're back at the bridge. So I've got about 2 3/4 of a mile to go. So I guess I'm gonna end up at 12 miles today. All right, I made it back to the first fork in the pathway. So I should have just about a half mile to get back to my car. Well, I made it back to Pigeon Bridge campground, and I'm about 300 feet from my car. So I have to say, that was one of my favorite hikes I've ever done. I'm at almost 12 and a half miles. I'll be at 12 and a half miles by the time I get to my car. That's a pretty substantial hike, but honestly, it doesn't feel like I went that far. Like, I don't feel completely worn out. I mean, compared to my backpacking trip at the Waterloo Pinckney Trail last week, where it was 105 with the humidity, I had to wear a bug net because the mosquitoes were so bad. You know, the constant up and down, the bad weather, the muggy air. This is total opposite. Not a single mosquito, not a single bug. Nice breeze the entire way, sunny, clear skies, and just such an arrangement of scenery. I cannot wait to come back and do this again. I cannot wait to come back with my wife, and I cannot wait to do the high country pathway. Well, back at the car. I'm gonna go pick up Mom and wife. We're gonna go chow down, and then tomorrow we're gonna do the Mackinac Bridge walk. It'll be my first time ever doing it, so I'm excited for that. See you there. Long hike? Check. Lots of food? Check.
Fire looks cool in your car.
Step 2 dedicated to Steve Wallace? Check.